So good morning, everyone. This is our monthly touch point, Get to Know IDS, our open consultation hour. My name is Giulia Giussani. I'm Digital Innovation Manager at IDSA. And today I'm here with my colleague Silvia. I'm from Italy, but I'm currently based in Dortmund, Germany, where the association has its head offices, but Silvia is actually in Spain.
Hello, good morning. As Giulia presented me, I'm Silvia Castellvi. I am a stakeholder engagement senior consultant, and I am glad to be with you today to present, to introduce you more about IDS, okay? And maybe we can start just presenting yourself. If you want, you can unmute and say your name and where you come from.
Perfect. So today we only have 3 participants. Probably the others didn't manage to join, but it's good for us because the live session can really be something interactive. And I can see here in the attendees list our friend Hideki. Maybe you can start to introduce yourself and explain what is your expectation for today's session. If you're talking, we cannot hear you. Maybe you're still muted. Okay, I will try to unmute you. Yeah, so
Yeah,
now if you unmute, yeah.
Hello. My name is Hideki Yagi from Japan, Toshiba. So I'm very interested in the data sovereignty and the data exchange among the different business domains. So that IDSA is a very important topic for me and for my company. So, but I'm not so familiar with the IDSA, so that I would like to know the basic architectural basic information in this session. Thank you.
Yeah, great. We saw you attended other live sessions, and we hope that we will manage to guide you through and answer your questions today. The other participant, so one participant dropped off. Maybe he or she will come back later. And I can see here Shannon. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, hello, Shannon Callaghan calling from Australia. I'm a senior policy advisor with the Australian Research Data Commons, and that's an initiative by Australian universities to share research data amongst themselves. Previously, I've worked a lot in government, trying to improve information sharing, and I've been interested in IDSA for a number of years. What attracted me to this session was the focus on the working groups and the initiatives beyond the technology and the standards. And I understand you've also got some rules coming out about around the governance as well, which I'd be interested in. But that's it. I'm happy to answer other questions.
And may I ask you how you got to know these live sessions? So you were already following our news and social media?
Yes, absolutely. I follow you on LinkedIn primarily, and that's how I keep in contact with what's going on.
Okay, that's great.
Thank you. Okay.
So normally we go through an introduction on IDS concepts and what the association is doing, and then we have the Q&A session. How would you like to proceed? Maybe the introduction is not necessary, or maybe we can just go through it very quickly. What do you prefer?
I'm happy if you go through the introduction for Hideki's sake.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. Okay, I see that another participant is joining. Michael, Michael, we're a really short round today, and we would like you to introduce yourselves if you would like to do so. So the others have already introduced themselves. That will be your turn. If you're talking, we cannot hear you. But yeah, maybe we can also get to know each other later during the Q&A part. We decided to present some basic concepts and give you an insight on the association, and then move to the Q&A part. So let's get started. As you probably already know, IDS is an international initiative willing to bring data sovereignty. And the initiative is led by the IDSA, so the International Data Spaces Association, which is a not-for-profit association based in Germany. And now the association has grown a lot. We have more than 120 members, and they belong from 21 countries. How all this started? It started 4 years ago in summer 2016 from different research projects and a group of research partners and innovation centers. And yeah, you see that we've done a lot in the past 4 years. As mentioned, the head office is in Dortmund, Germany, but we also have Silvia, who is based in Spain, and another colleague, Antoine, who is based in France. And to support our activities, we also got in partnership with some research and innovation centers throughout Europe. You can see them here. We have VDT in Finland. We have the Czech Technical University in Prague in the Czech Republic, Innovalia in Spain, TNO in the Netherlands, CEFER in Milan, in Italy, Institut Mintelecom in France, and CEAD in Greece. So if you belong to one of these countries, do not hesitate to contact them, because they really act as first support and can introduce you to the IDS concepts. We said that IDSA wants to bring data sovereignty, but what do we actually refer with this term? Data sovereignty is basically the ability of a natural or legal person to exclusively and sovereignly decide over the usage of one's data. And this is highly crucial nowadays, because on one hand side, we really want free flows of data to really exploit the power of the data economy. But on the other hand side, we are really concerned about how the data is used. So we want to enable the data owner to stay in control and maintain the possession of its data to really exploit it as an economic asset. And IDSA wants to bring this into practice via the so-called data spaces, which act as clean rooms for the data economy. So a secure place where data can be exchanged according to data sovereignty. And despite the name might be sometimes misleading, with data spaces, we actually refer to not a physical place, but a federated data integration concept. So a data space is basically the sum of all the different connectors that put in connection all the different endpoints. And an IDS data space makes sure that this sovereignty is there and that data can be exchanged to very different endpoints via these three main pillars that you can see here. So we have the pillar of unlimited interoperability, which is based on a standard for data flows between all different kinds of data endpoints. We have the concept, the idea of trust between different security domains, which is also ensured via a certification process. And lastly, we have some governance structures in place so that we can really ensure that usage control of the data is there and that we can enforce these usage control policies. Yeah, now I would like to hand it over to my colleague Silvia, who will go a little bit more into depth regarding these three main concepts.
Let me see if I can share my screen. Can you make me presenter, or do you want?
Mm-hmm.
I think that you also can unmute the attendees if they want to make questions. So.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, now I can. When
We still don't see your screen in presentation mode.
yes, 1 second, because I want to change the. Sorry, 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
Because I want to share a second. But I don't know. Yeah, this. Yeah, no. Okay. Can see now the screen. Can you see the slides?
Yeah, now we can see the slides.
Okay, that's great. Okay, as Giulia presented in this data ecosystem, ADS forms the base for data sovereignty. So what we are offering, first, the reference architecture is setting the framework conditions. On the web page, it's available, the reference architecture model, 3rd version, and at the end of the year, we will have a new version available. Then we have the trust framework and the schema for data sharing and really providing trust when you are sharing data. And finally, the coordination of operational agreements when sharing data, providing this data sovereignty services that we want to offer in the ecosystem. These three elements enable that we provide a new vision of data sharing based on federation of data instead of centralized platforms. But as we can see later, this federation peer-to-peer network is harmonized with centralized platforms. And also, this vision is based on data sovereignty. So we can ensure data sovereignty for the owner of the data. And of course, a proven data provenance for the users of the data. Let's go, as I commented, a little bit in deeper about what is international data space. This is an example of what data spaces looks like. This is an example in the manufacturing sector. And what you are seeing here, you can imagine a large peer-to-peer network of data sources. You have the machines that are creating data sets, so you can share these data sets with a cloud infrastructure provider, a cloud enterprise. And for this purpose, you use a gateway. These blue bubbles are the IDS connector gateways that facilitate you to share the data and attach with these data sets the data usage constraints. This is the metadata that identify the conditions under the data users may use this data or trade this data. But here in this image, you can see also the red lines that connect machine to machines without secure data, because this is a data that you don't want protect, or it's not so important if someone else use this data. So you have in the black lines connections that are not requiring trust data sharing because the system allows it. But once you have these gateways implemented in your facility, you are able to share the data in a secure way. And if you are certified participants, you allow to secure exchange and trusted sharing of your data with other entities. But let's go to see a little bit about this gateway that I have presented you before, how it works, what is it is. The IDS connector is the central part of the IDS model. The IDS connector is the base to access the data spaces. As Giulia presented before, is the door to enter into the cleaning room. And there are different uses scenario, different requirements regarding the security of the data. As I explained it before, in some scenario, it's not necessary to protect the data, but in some cases, you need a basic protection, but for some data sets from some data, you need a high level of security protection. So for this purpose, we have defined 4 security profiles depending on your needs for security. And these profiles are well defined in the certification schema, in the requirements that you need to achieve to fulfill these security requirements. And the architecture is even formulated in a formal standard, the DIN 27070 specification. It is called the Security Gateway for Sharing Data and Services. And it is more comprehensive described, as I commented before, in the reference architecture model that is available on the website. And now we are in the process to getting this formal standard and ISO certification at the international level. We are working on that. So the specifications for implementation of the connector based on container management technologies is available on GitHub. And also there are available several of them on GitHub. So you can access to open source implementation code of IDS connector on GitHub. And starting with these documents, you know how to create these doors to the cleaning room for the data spaces. And those connectors can be implemented in a lot of different scenarios, from embedded systems over mobile devices up to client service solutions. This has already been done, and we came up with reference implementations of this IDS connector in different scenarios. But outside this world, outside the data spaces, outside this cleaning room that Giulia presented before for the data, you are sticking to these rules, and inside, after this door, everything is secure. then you are safe from outside world with the certification. The certification process is really important in IDSA. We have an IDSA ready formal certification schema, and the certification has to be done by other participants on IDS ecosystem. And both for the organization that participate in the ecosystem, and the components they are used needs to be certifying, starting for the connector that I just presented you. And we have already some companies that can make this job, like SQS from Spain, Fraunhofer and SIG from Germany, and Tecnalia also from Spain. These companies will be evaluators facilities to look in deeper in your components according the certification level that you want to achieve, and verifying that you are fulfilling this certification. But if you want to know more about the certification process, you have webinars on the website that explain you in more detail. Regarding the status of the certification process, at the end of this year, we will have a new certification process implemented. But let's go to move to talk about the usage control that is executed in the connector. So this is really the link, the connector, and the rules applied to be fulfilled. But what is the usage control? It gives you the possibility to apply the conditions under which data will be consumed. At the end of the day, what are these conditions? They are making the agreements that enable you to exchange your data in the way you want. So this is why usage control participate to really transform your data sets into the economic assets. So we are referring to the data as an economic asset, as an asset, in order to implement the data economy. And this is the reason because the usage control is so essential in IDS ecosystem, because we are not talking about just data sharing. We are talking about secure data sharing and applying the conditions, the control of the data. But let's look a little bit deeper, because you are asking how it works. So what is more in detail the usage control? You must probably know what is access control, because it has already existed and it is easy managed by manager people in an organizations, or accessing people that are users that are accessing to the services. But this is just a role management, manage the users. And this is what we are currently doing when you are accessing data or services in your website, in your applications. And we can attach obligation manage of the future usage to have a more fine-grained obligation conditions under which your data can be consumed. So what we are doing in ADS model is adding both of them, the access control that I commented before, but also the usage control. Okay, so on one side, we have the access control through the certification path, the certification of the organization that are participating in the ecosystem. And on the other side, we have the usage control on a higher fine-grained sovereignty. With usage control, not only you can attach rules and constraints to your data sets, you can also enforce that is really happening on a technical base. What you have declared or you have agreed in a contract, that is really enforced. So for this reason, it is so important, the IDS connector, because this component guarantee that this enforcement of the data usage control is done. And let me explain you just to better clarify the difference between the access and the usage, because in a lot of security, cybersecurity scenarios, there is the access control, but not the data usage control. Let me provide you some examples. On the left side of this picture, you have the basic, what you are doing when you are making access control. You check who has access to your services to guarantee that the security policies are applied, and you can locate, you know where is located the user that are accessing to your services, and also which devices is using, okay? Briefly or informally, you check it before accessing to your resources. But on the right side, you have what we are doing is how to grant, to redefine the use of data and apply some constraints. For example, time. You can accept to share your data, but just for a limited time. So you can enforce that this data is just available, for example, for 3 days. Or you want to share your data only with a specific kind of stakeholders, because you prefer that your competitors don't access your data. Or if they access to your data, you prefer to make it anonymized before sharing. So you can apply several conditions before you share your data. And now Giulia is going to explain you the different roles that we have defined in IDS ecosystem. So Giulia, I make you presenter. Can you share? Oh, I am. Okay.
Do you see my screen in presentation mode?
Yes, we can see Giulia.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so before we move to the Q&A part, there are these two topics that I would like to give you an insight on. And the first one is are the roles that can be found in an IDS ecosystem, and the other one is the current situation. So which activities is IDSA up to? So to explain the roles in an IDS ecosystem, we really like to use the metaphor of a motorway. So in a motorway, we find a lot of vehicles, and in our case, they are the data owners and data users. But in order to enable them to travel to different points in this road, we must have an infrastructure. So our road, our infrastructure are different providers. So we have identity, which is provided by some identity providers. We have providers for the technology, so providers where you can buy a connector from. But sometimes when you travel, you really need to stop to buy some food or to refuel. And in this case, these providers of services are, for example, the broker service provider or the app store provider. On top of this, we need a municipality. So we need an organization that sets the rules and that checks that everyone is behaving in the right manner and that trustworthiness is in place. And this is actually the roles that is taken on by the IDSA. So IDSA really wants to safeguard the value propositions, set the rules, and deliver trust. If we look these roles from a different perspective, we can see from this slide here the interactions that can happen between these players. And you can see at the very sides of the slide, the data owner and the data user, which might not be the data provider and data consumer. So sometimes it happens that a data owner gives the data to a data provider to make it share in the ecosystem. And you can see in the rectangular shapes all the different service providers. So we have the broker service provider that offers a broker where the metadata is published and can be searched from the other participants in the ecosystem. You can see the App Store provider at the bottom part, and the clearinghouse where transactions are logged and secured. But to really understand how IDS works, I think this slide is not the most beautiful one, but it's really effective. So you can see the main part of the slide is this light blue circle, and that represents the trusted IDS ecosystem. And you see the word untrusted at the side, left upper side, and that doesn't mean that the outside environment is by any means not trustworthy, but this refers to the basic idea of IDS. So you can always get a service from a system integration company and make different systems interoperable and let them exchange data in a secure way. But the basic idea of IDS is really to open up to different companies and to enable a smoother and easier data flow, which is nonetheless secure and can be done in a sovereign manner. And this is exactly the point why this circle is here. So all the companies that would like to access an IDS ecosystem need to have these connectors. So that's our gateway to access the ecosystem. And both the connector and the company need to be certified so that they can be accepted as trustworthy players in the ecosystem. And inside the circle, you also see all the different aspects, so other components or crucial elements of the architecture. So you can see the mandatory ones in pink and the optional ones in light blue. So obviously, a mandatory one is the certification, which I just explained. No participant can access the ecosystem if their components and its operational environment is not certified. Then we can see, for example, the broker and the App Store. There are features that we're obviously already working on, but they do not belong to the basic concepts that really enable an IDS ecosystem to be operating and in place. And moving to the last topic, so the current activities of IDSA, you can group them into two main categories. So the first one is the evolution of the IDS offering, and the other one is the adoption and proliferation. So obviously, IDSA is continuously trying to improve and to refine its offering. So far, we have the IDS reference architecture model, as Silvia already explained. We've defined the certification process, and you can see the certification criteria that you need to be compliant to the IDS in order to access the ecosystem. And currently, we're also getting started with the approval process for the evaluation facilities that will really carry out these assessments. We're also dealing with everything that is related with the legal side of data sharing, so the standard contracts, and also with the operational processes, because obviously we need some version management processes in place, some procedures to accept and add new members in the ecosystem. And this is something that we are currently working on, and that will be part of a new document, which is the IDS rulebook. But I will talk about this in 1 second. Moving to the other main category, so the adoption and proliferation activity of IDSA. We want to support our members to really create market-ready solutions with IDS. And we already have our hubs, and we are in contact with different initiatives in the context of data sharing that help us bring IDS forward and also create synergies within the different initiatives. But one more recent activity that we've started with this is the so-called Launch Coalition. And I can explain you better with this other slide here. The Launch Coalition is a group of IDSA members that are really wanting to support us make the leap between a more research environment and really market-ready IDS solutions. And we've started this activity at the beginning of this year, and we plan to have market-ready IDS solutions for the end of the year. We're working in 3 main work streams. The first one is more focused on the business cases, so really developing the business model behind the solution. The second one is more related to implementation. So it's called Building Solutions, where we really want to support the companies to work on their solutions, test the interoperability with each other, and be able to get certified. And the last work stream is the one related to the rulebook that I mentioned before. So we are organizing a lot of workshops and meetings to let the Launch Coalition work together and come up with these final sets of technical, operational, and legal agreements that will enable IDS to be fully operating. And this is an important point. We've come up with the first version. We're currently refining it with our members, obviously, and it will be ready for the end of the month. That was it for from our side. We would like now to know which are the topics that you're most interested into. Shannon said he's most interested into the initiatives. I don't know if my last slides clarified a little bit more, or if you have specific questions.
Yes, thank you very much for that. So I'd be interested in the rulebook when it comes out. Obviously, that's a little while away, as you said. The other thing is, I'd be very interested to know a little bit more about the usage control. In particular, if you're using a particular digital rights standard, and if so, which one? And the other one is the process between that you see going from those standardized data agreements or data contracts and the translation into the technical enforcement within the connector, and how that's progressing.
I'm muted. So maybe I can start with the rulebook. We currently have this first version, and we've tackled all the different aspects that I mentioned. So we're working to refine the technical agreements. So something more specific, like how to manage different DApps, and whether we want to use a federated approach or not, and these kind of things. We are currently having some legal workshops where we address the legal side of data sharing. We had 5 workshops in between August and September, where we took really crucial decisions for IDS, and we now have a it's not an official working group, but we have a smaller group between the participants that is really working to create synergies between two other initiatives in the context of data sharing. One is the iShare initiative in the Netherlands related to the logistics, and the other one is the Sitra in Finland. I don't know if you heard about them, but the Sitra initiative has come up with a really sophisticated rulebook that has also some contract templates that can be used to set up a digital ecosystem. So currently, we are working together with them. IDSA already has some standard contracts, and yeah, so things are proceeding very well. And we are continuing with workshops once a month. We had a few weeks ago one on data ethics. And these workshops are also open to everyone. So if you would like to participate, or if you know lawyers or experts in your legal departments that would like to join our workshops, that would be really, really interesting. Yeah, I hope that clarifies a little bit. And how to move from contracts to technical enforcement. That's a good question. I'm not a technical person, but I know that obviously the plan is to start with some legal enforcement and then build on and really set the technologies in place. We will have one of our next workshops, legal workshops, will be actually on usage control. So that will be really interesting for you. I can keep you updated if you, yeah, I have your email.
Yes, that'd be fantastic. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so we're working, and obviously it's a step-by-step process, so we cannot expect everything to be technical enforcement to be ready next month. But I think it's good to keep also the legal community in close touch with the usage control working group. I hope that answered your questions.
And Shannon, I also have shared with you a link to the usage control document. So I recommend, if you have not seen it before, I recommend you go through, because then you will find more details about how to apply and which standards we use.
Yes, thank you very much. And I've had some involvement in things like the Links project, which is translating legislation into code, and hopefully one day that can assist.
Mm-hmm. Actually, we would like these workshops to be open. So if you're interested in presenting the work that you've been doing, that would be also great.
Certainly, I have some academics who might be better than me, but yes, that'd be great.
Okay, yeah, good collaboration. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Are there other questions?
Comments?
From Michael, who was unmuted. Can I be heard?
Yes.
Yeah. Perfect.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I stepped in and it was exactly the topic I was searching for, data usage, the upcoming rule book, etc. Short introduction of myself. I'm from T-Systems, the daughter of Deutsche Telekom, one of your, how do you call it, members.
Yes.
Yeah, with also one of the first products, our data integration hub. I'm coming from the other side, meaning I'm from business development regarding new business models, meaning servitization anything as a service, etc., which definitely relies on those concepts because there are many participants and the data is cost related and has to be seen as the asset. I'm working on the German side also with projects like Gaia X or OpenD, etc., and all leads are going back to you in so far, one of my tasks to get deeper knowledge. Already started with that one, with the reference architecture and the good idea to define all those layers, which gives me a good chance to integrate those with the other projects. In so far, thank you very much. I have a lot to learn, but I do now know where I can ask some questions if they arise. So far, thanks.
Perfect. We are here to support you, and especially if you are a member. Michael, let me explain you. I am the responsible of OpenDI project from IDSA point of view, also with Thorsten Julsman. But let me inform you, if you don't know, that right now we have created a task force that we are working internally. It's not public available. It's just with experts from different sectors and also experts from data spaces domain. And we are preparing a positioning paper regarding data spaces, applying, defining which are the design principles for data spaces that the European Commission published on the last European strategy for data in February. So we are working on this paper for the end of the year in December. A lot of things coming on December.
Right.
And and let me say you that we plan to continue with this task force during next year. And one of the topics that we see that could be very interesting, you just mentioned, the new business models, how to define innovative models for the data economy. Maybe we will talk about it, and maybe you will be interested to participate, because what we want to do is to bring together experts from different fields, from Gaia-X, from research projects in the European Commission, and work together to define these new innovative business models to apply or to develop. So just to follow us, keep in touch, and we will inform you.
That sounds more than good, because currently I'm definitely in the process regarding my business cases and leads to bring together all those different participants, companies, cloud provider, etc., and also under the roof of IDSA, Gaia-X, etc. And so far, it would be very interested to work on the topics more. If that's a chance, please contact me. I hope you have my email address. Yeah.
Yes, I have. Don't worry with the registration process, Michael. Yeah, I will keep you informed.
Thank you very much.
I see that Hideki sent a question in the chat, and it's basically on the IDS connector, and if a company needs to develop an IDS connector internally or by device vendor. So the concept of a device vendor, it's not clear, so I don't know exactly what you mean, but
maybe Giulia, let me, I am just reading, is the IDS connector combined to the device? In other words, is IDS connector developed by device vendor? Yes. For example, if I am a factory manager and just using several assets in my factory, and I would like to exchange my factory data, in this case, I don't need to develop IDS connected for my factory, but asset vendor. Yes, for example, we have SICK. It's a sensor manufacturer that they incorporate embedded in the sensors the IDS connector. But we have also other partners that develop the gateway, so you can with the IDS software in the gateway. Okay, so the IDS connector is a software that the device developer, the gateway developer can implement in this gateway, or you can implement in your server, or a third party. Okay, there are several companies, solution providers on IDS ecosystem that are ready to make it for a third party. But what we offer is, if you have your device, your gateway, or your server, and you want, as a IT service provider, develop it, you are able to do it. But if you want a commercial solution, you have SIG, which is a company. We have Orbita, and also Dutch Telecom that provide a data marketplace for anyone that wants to use this data marketplace for data sharing. So both solutions are available.
Okay, this is Hideki of Toshiba. So thank you very much for your explanation. And please let me confirm. So as I wrote in the chat, so if I am a factory manager and our company has our own solution for the smart factory, in this case, our company should develop our own IDS connector for my smart factory solution. Is my understanding correct?
If you, okay, let me explain you in other words. It means that you have your security solution and you want to make it compliant with IDS ecosystem. You need to go through the certification process. The certification process follows security requirements specified by, for example, the ISO 27001 specification. I think I am just trying to repeat by memory, so maybe it's a mistake, but it is what we define as security requirements. We use a security specification that a company that is implementing security rules is used to manage. So the question is, the answer is, if you already have your security rules and you want to participate with these security rules, security gateways in IDS ecosystem, you need to go through this certification process. And you have on the website the security catalog. You can see for the different components which are the security requirements, the security catalog. I will share with you this link so you can see how these security requirements looks like. And as I commented, it is based on security standards that you use in a software company, okay, your security company. I have answered your question or not?
So I'm a little bit confusing. Who is in charge of the IDS connector for the development point of view?
We have, maybe Giulia, you want to.
Yeah, can you repeat what's your doubt? So
who is the responsible of the IDS development? Okay, and we have in IDS ecosystem. We have not just one IDS connector, we have several IDS connectors developed. One of them is open source, provided by Fraunhofer, AST. But also Fraunhofer IOS has developed an IDS connector that is OPC UA compliance, for example. So we have several IDS connectors developments. And we have also IDS connectors developed by 80 companies, software company, that they has developed it for a commercial purpose. So once you develop an IDS connector, you are responsible to maintain this connector and to follow the certification process every 2 years. because the certification process is for 2 years to guarantee that you are applying, you are maintaining the software. Now I have answered your question. I can send you some links to these connectors, and then you can see.
Yes, it's very helpful for me. Thank you very much.
Yes, it means that you can develop your own connector based on the DIN specification that I commented before, the 27001. This is the specifications, DIN specification for the connector development, but also in GitHub, you have open source software, you have code of these connectors already developed that you can use as open source. One of them is a basic requirements, a basic trust connector that you can use and implement at your factory.
Yeah, maybe
okay, I see.
Just one addition to this. I think these clarification where companies get their connector is really important because, as Silvia said, some companies might need to develop the connector or might be willing to develop a connector internally, but some others might not have the resources to do that. But the great opportunity of IDS is really to create opportunities, really. So some companies are working together with us to create their connectors, and they will be able to put this as an offering in IDS. So, and this is actually what we're trying to achieve with the Launch Coalition. So some companies are developing their own connectors, and they will be able to put it as an offering in the IDS ecosystem, like connector providers, and there will be their new business opportunity, and companies will be able to access an IDS ecosystem also without developing it on their own. So with the Launch Coalition, we really want to have the essential components in place, and the connector is obviously one of them. So we are working to make this happen within the Launch Coalition, so that after that we can really create new IDS ecosystems, building and playing with the different offerings.
Okay, I see. It's a little bit clearer than before, so thank you very much for your explanation.
We are a little bit short of time, so if you do not have other questions, I would conclude with our last slides. Yeah. So we would like to thank you for joining us today. I think it's always better to really talk about these topics because complexity is really high, and only talking we can really clarify aspects and understand what are the topics that you are most interested into. And we hope you are also convinced that data sharing is better than playing alone. But I think from your answers that's definitely the case. We hope we'll stay in touch. I will contact some of you and Silvia as well. And do not hesitate to ask more questions to step into our activities. Just briefly, I would like to point you to our upcoming events. So you can see here, we will have our IDSA Live Session views on IDS. That's tomorrow, and that will be focused on the trust project with a focus on the financial domain. And then you can see in this other slide that these months are really packed. I would signal you the GaiaX Summit next week, which obviously we're also we're really involved into Gaia, as you probably know. Then the week after, we will have the Fraunhofer IDSA Data Ecosystems Day, and the week after, our Data Sharing Winter School. So the last two events are something that we are co-organizing. I can send you the link in the chat in a second. for both the Data Ecosystems Day and the Winter School. And yeah, thanks a lot for joining us today. Do not hesitate to contact us if you have other questions, and I hope we'll stay in touch. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much.